Hello. In this video, we are going to make public collections work for users who are not logged in. I've already made two changes. In the GraphQL controller, I whitelisted the get collection links query to be, right now, the only query that we are allowed to hit GraphQL with while not being logged in. And then in our link type, I updated this line. I needed to wrap it in this check to make sure the current user exists. We don't necessarily have a current user when we are fetching public links or public collections, and this user link favorites line was blowing up. Context current user is undefined if nobody's logged in, and so this is null. Sorry, not undefined, but null or nil. And then calling ID on nil blows up. So we need to make sure current user exists before trying to fetch user link favorites. So I've done that. And now when I refresh a public collection and I am not logged in, the links load, which is great, but everything's a favorite, which is obviously not. So let's get into this. If I look here, I look at a link that we're fetching, user link favorites is null, but somehow that is resulting in us thinking that this is a favorite. That's not what I expect. Ooh, let's figure out why. Favorite. So I don't know where this line. Okay, so we have a loading bar and then link search list, and then have rows. Oh, and this is custom node. Each row is a custom node. Okay, and then favorite, heart, like. I don't remember what this icon's called. We have list items. Folders. What I'm trying to find now is where that heart exists. Okay, you know what we can do? We can just look for that icon. So if I go to icons, icon list, heart, favorite, that's what it's called. Okay, where are you? Search active filters, toggle favorite, top buttons, it's this one. If is favorite, do this. Okay, what is his favorite? User link favorites, 0. Okay, so it doesn't equal 0, it equals undefined. So turn user link favorites and user link favorites. That I think should actually do it. Cool. Okay, favorites is fixed. So not fixed. This is still gonna blow up, which is janky. But okay. So what do we want to do here? I do have a future excuse me. I do have a future feature I want to do, which is going to be to rewrite or just make the way we display links a little bit better. I want to do a ton of work on each one of these line items right now because I think this is going to change a lot. I have some ideas that are coming down the pipeline pretty quickly. but they're out of scope for this. So we need to make this not janky, but also not go nuts over engineering this, because this component's going to change a lot. So I think what we'll do is we will just disable this button and this button if the user that is logged in does not own this collection. Yeah, that's what we'll do. We will disable these buttons unless the user that is logged in owns this collection. So his favorite so here we're going to do else if return disabled. Cool. If true, let's just make sure this is correct. No. Okay, so run button. Oh, yeah, we have this line. Okay, that's wrong. So should have used my eyeballs. Just remove all of that. Return this. Okay, and then if true, true. That looks janky right now, but it'll make sense in a second. Yeah, okay, so these are all disabled. Okay, so now we say if current user does not do I really want each one of these lines to be checking if the current user exists? No. That's a lot to pass down, but I don't want to be checking the context every time. Let me check. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. So each one of these lines, these rows, is going to need to know who the current user is. And it's going to need to know if the existing collection let me think more about this actually. So I don't want to have to pass the collection information to each one of these things either. Where are you rendered? 0. And this is rendered by Search Row Desktop. Which is rendered by Search Row. Okay, so this is where we start. That's going to be a lot more work than I thought it was going to be. But it is what it is. Okay, so contexts, current user contexts. Where's my active user thing? Oh, it's not a context anymore. It is a query. Okay. So same question, but with queries. Okay, so what we're going to do, I had to do some thinking here. Each one of these lines, each one of these rows, we're going to need to pass it new information. We're going to need to pass it the current user, and we're going to need to pass it the public collection if the public collection exists. We want to do this in the parent. We want to pass this as props as opposed to passing it or just fetching it from the cache, the Apollo cache every time, because things can get a little weird and that's not the most performant way to do things. We don't need to check the cache every single time one of these things renders. We can just pass it as props. That's a more simple, more elegant, and going to be long-term more performant way of doing things. So that's what we're going to do. So the link search list is where we begin. The link search list renders the fixed sized list, which is all of this is part of the fixed sized list, and each one of these is a list item within the fixed sized list. And the fixed sized list is rendering a bunch of stuff, and each individual stuff is being rendered in a row component, which is this guy, which is a search row, essentially. Search row gets arguments such as this mobile or as extension, and we're going to add here current user. I will type that for you later, and collection. Okay, so current user. Let's populate current user. We need to get use query. And not here. Search list, right? Yeah. So we need use query, and then to use the query. That's convenient. That's exactly the one we need. We do this. Get active users query. Here, I'm just fetching the get active users query. Now we have data, and then data active user. We should type this. We're going to go ahead and take this opportunity to properly type this. So here, data.active user, cool. So URA current user. Import add interface from interfaces user. So now we have data, and then we messed this up before because data, okay, but then we're fetching data, so I don't think it's this. I think it's if we go to the link interface, link interface link, make sure I get this right because I blew this up before. No, that is it. Okay. So user, yeah, okay. So user is just this, and then here we have data, and so here the current user is just going to be data. Oh no, that's not right. Oh, oops. We're typing things here. Where do I pass search row? here. Data. That's not going to work because we're also going to have we'll cross that bridge later. Okay, so update this. Also have data, and then current user is going to be one of these guys. And then a collection. How do we get the collection? Are we going to fetch it, or we have to fetch it? Yeah, so this is going to be different. This is user query data. Active user query response. And then this guy now. Okay, so now we've need to go back to this interface and support interface active user query response. Data, or no, active user is current user interface, right? Because use query, get active user query, yeah. So what happened just now is I can't use I can't extract like the data variable like this because I'm going to have another use query right below this, which is going to be fetching the public collection information, and so we would have two datas. So instead, I need to set the whole variable to something and then access the active user, like active user. It's right there. This is. Okay. So this gives us the current user, and then the actual current user is right here. Comma expected. Okay. So we got there. Let's return an array. That's what's going on. Okay. The current user. That's okay, there. Too many JavaScript syntax shortcuts to keep in your head. Okay, so current user, we're passing current user as current user. And now item data is not happy. That's fine because we're gonna have to go down the whole list and change all of the interfaces, but okay. So we are now passing active user query response. And now we're gonna do the same thing. Yeah, now we're gonna do the same thing, but it's going to be the collection. So let's get collections. There. This is get collections query response. And we're going to type it. Export interface get collection response. And we are going to do this. Okay, so you are now a get collections response. Collection data dot and right. URA get collections response. No, your current user is just a current user. You should be just a current user interface, and I messed this up. That's okay. So do this, and then the collection user interface active user. Collection interface, current user interface. I'm just unwinding types here. This is a collection interface passing an active user, which is a current user interface. And then we're also going to pass a collection, which does not exist on type get collections response, but it different. So this is active user. Right. Okay, so this is collections. collection, excuse me. So now we are passing, we need to fix this, current user and collection to item data, which gets passed to each row component. So with that, we are now passing information that we need to each row element. So I'm gonna refresh and things are not blowing up. Cool, so that's cool. Gonna go ahead and close all of these. Let's get our large screen back. And I want to sanity check this is actually doing what it's supposed to do. So for each row, we're doing rendering a search row, and search row has props, is mobile, is extension, and so current user and collection are two new things. So each search row also has these. Let's go ahead and grab the definition of these. Interface and collection interface, they're right here. Search row. Type. Don't need that one, don't need that one. And I'm gonna do current user and collection console dot current user and collection. I just want to make sure we are actually getting it in our child component, and no, we are not. Yeah, well, that's okay. Oh yeah, well, we don't have one, so that's okay. So if I log in, and then go to the public collection page. Okay, so we have current user. So that's working. Cool. We do not have the collection, which is interesting because we should have a collection. Okay, where are we using get collection? Maybe we don't have it. Well, yeah, no, because when we go here, okay, this page should be fetching the collection. So also, oh no, because we're using we're using the query wrong. Okay, that's what's going on. So get collection. We need to pass it arguments. Duh, we need to pass it a collection ID. Otherwise, it's not going to fetch anything. And we already do that somewhere. Which is Not here. Oh, wait, are we doing get collections? Yeah, we need, okay. This should be get collection. Get collection. I don't know if that exists. Okay, yeah. So we have a get collections query, which is powering the this page. So as a logged in user, I can fetch all of my existing collections, plural. But get collection, just fetching one collection by ID, does not exist. I just fat fingered this. It should have been singular. I wasn't paying attention. I'm trying to go too fast. So we're going to go ahead and create the get collection query. So get collections, create collection, and then we need a get collection query. And that's going to be like get paginated or get collection, get category. I'm going to do this the same way that I do categories. So get collection query. Query collection. And this is all going to be exactly the same. Collection. And then we fetch the stuff. And we fix the indentation. Oh no, that's right. Okay. We get collection query. Get collection query singular. And this is going to take variables. Variables. Public collection. Public ID. Right. Public ID, yeah. Collection public ID, and we're going to fetch this from the URL. And we've already done this before here in a previous place. All we're doing is fetching that from the URL, which is we can get from use params from the React router. And we can use the React router here because we are deep within routes. So all this is doing is grabbing this part of the URL in our router. If I go to active page, which is determining where we are in the application based on the URL, there's a collections public collection ID route. And so the router knows this is a ID, and this is the path, and this is like a random ID, and then wild card for whatever's after this. So I can use the use params hook as part of the React router to grab that collection public ID from the URL and then pass it right there. We've already done this before, so let's just copy this. Right, variables is its own thing. We're one variables. Back, the OBS crashed. Okay, so I've copied collections here. So now our get collections query is correct here, but this doesn't actually exist on the back end. So this is still not going to work. It's going to probably blow up. Collection doesn't exist on type query. So back to the back end, query types, collections, and now we will do collection. And this is just returning one collection. Returns collection by ID. And collection, and this takes arguments. Argument collection public ID. Oh, I just copied that. And then collection, return collection, where, signed by public ID, collection public ID. So that should do it, right? Restart Rails, go back to our code, refresh again. Still no joy, that's okay. Got errors. Failed to call collection on types because the Ruby method params were incompatible with GraphQL arguments. Ruby method params were incompatible with GraphQL arguments. Collection public ID. So here we're always using collection public ID. Should match, like this should match, everything should match. So we're referring to it as collection public ID everywhere. It's the same. Okay, and then if we go to our query, the same, right? And then if I go to where we're actually using this was also the same. Let's start from the top. Make sure we have a collection public ID. We do. Hard refresh just to make sure. Yeah, we have collection public ID, so that's fine. Our query collection is correct. I think. Yeah, we have it. Get collection query. ID, which exists. And then get collection query. Collection. Guess I should probably just read the whole error message, instead of half-assing it. We're missing that stuff right here. Okay, so restarting Rails again. And now we have the collection. Cool. So the collection is being passed from the parent to each one of these rows. That's a big win. We're going to go ahead and commit at this point. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Query. Or interface, excuse me. Interface. I'm not going to commit this yet. Okay, let's do this. I'm going to break this into a couple. So backend can logged out users can hit get collection links. Get collection links. Logged out users can hit get collection links. And then fix logged out users getting links. And then we have the link search list passing new things, and we have the new thing. Yeah, okay, yeah, sure. And then passing whip, passing collection and user to search rows. And before I commit this, I'm going to get rid of those console logs. Thought there was two. Yeah, right here. Link search list. Okay. Cool. So we've gone down one layer. Now we need to pass them to the next component. So now each row as sorry, I'm tired. Link search list row. Each search row now has current user and collection. Now we pass this to Search Row Desktop and Search Row Mobile. Current user and collection. Current user and collection. Mobile props. Current user. Any collection. Any. And let's get the real types. So we go back to this guy. No, we go to this one. And it's these two types. Search row mobile types. This one and this one. We need this and we don't need this. And then we need to do the same thing for the search row desktop. Right, so search row mobile. These might not exist. And then we need to do the same thing for search row desktop. And we do that. Copy these. We do types. And we have current user and collection. And props. Same here. Okay, progress is progress. And now we're in business. Okay. So now we can pass these props to the toggle favorite component, and we're also going to eventually pass these to the dropdown component. And if the user is logged in and the current collection is owned by that user, we will not disable the dropdown or favorites. Otherwise, we will. I actually need to check one more thing, which is the query get collection. Yeah, I don't have a user ID on here, so I need to actually fetch the user ID as well. Yeah, cool. Okay, so and then I need to update interface collection user ID number. Okay. So we're in good shape. Let's go ahead and do this. And then these are, this isn't going to be too bad. So yeah, this isn't going to be too bad. Cool. All right, we're going to jump right into it. We're going to pass current user and collection to the toggle favorite component, which is this guy. And we're going to make this little heart icon disabled unless the current user also owns the given collection. If the current user does not own the collection, we'll display some tooltip or something letting users know why they can't actually click it. But that way we're advertising that this is functionality that exists, but it's also functionality that they can't use unless they take some extra step, such as logging in, create an account, etc., etc. Yeah, and that's what we're going to do for now. Again, I will be refactoring the display of links. There's a lot of dead area in here and whatnot, so I'm not going to get too into we're not going to go nuts right now on these rows because I'm going to be going back and changing these rows, I believe. So for now, we're just doing the MVP of making this work. So we're passing current user and collection to toggle favorites. I have that written, so let's go ahead and, oh yeah, okay, whatever. So, and then I can just copy these types right here. And then let's open toggle favorites in another window. There we go. And go up to props. Add those as props. We also need to grab the types. Okay. Types. We're starting to get a lot of imports in this file, so let's go ahead and organize it a little bit. I'm going to call these that's good enough for now. So for toggle favorites, yeah, so for these, I try to keep them roughly organized if I end up having a lot of imports. I haven't been very strict about it. I'm kind of iffy on if I should or should not be doing this. Yeah, it doesn't matter, so I'm not going to do some deep dive into this right now. But on one hand, I think having your imports organized is nice. On the other hand, it's not really necessary. There is some extensions that you can use that automatically do this. Out of scope for what we're working on right now, it doesn't matter. If this was a code base where a bunch of other people were also working on this project, then that would be a different story, and we would talk as a team to figure out how everyone wants things organized. But for now, just for me, it's fine. So current user and collection are now being imported. And now, somewhere in here, we have, oh yeah, this guy. So it's disabled, and we've hard-coded it to true. And now we're finally actually writing the code here. So if current, oh wait, we have to import them. So current user and collection. Cool. So now, right here, if current user dot and current user and current user dot ID equals collection user ID. We'll say no. If current user ID does not equal collection ID, but we do have to handle current user and or collection being null as well. So if current user or current user.id is not equal to the collection user ID, return true. Otherwise, do what we were doing before. So I think that's it. Are we logged in? We are. Hard refresh. Hard refresh. Cool. Thing is, this should not be disabled. This should be. Let's make sure we have both of these guys. refresh again. We have the collection, and we have the current user ID 12, and the collection. Okay, the collection does not have a user ID. Okay, so the collection user ID is not here yet. So, we just fixed that. Queries get collection query. I added it the wrong place. Okay. So now, refreshing. Current user. Now the collection's undefined. How's the collection undefined? Collection. Oh, we're not. Okay. Field user ID does not exist on type collection. It does. User ID. Okay. Oh, type collection. And I think this is oh no, that's right. That's right. It's a number. A number, or is it an integer? It's a lot of things. ID I think is appropriate. Let's go ahead and fix that too. Okay. We're going to restart Rails. Go back to here, and again, hard refresh. Okay, still no joy. That's okay. Let's find field user ID does not exist on type collection. Field user ID, collection type, user ID. Collection.last.user ID. It is there. So what am I missing? Get collection query. ID name description select. Oh. It's going to be user ID. This always throws me off because GraphQL automatically is turning it from camel case to snake case, and that's going to be the problem, I bet. Cool, we got it. We're still disabled. Collection, user ID, current user ID. Okay, so that worked. So toggle favorite. Why are you not happy? Current user .id. Oh. Well. Oh yeah, that checks out. Yeah, okay. Again, same thing. Okay, so collection, interface collection, user ID. Okay. Realsies this time. Now we can go back to here, toggle favorite. This should work. Yeah, so now as a logged in user, these aren't disabled. Why are you not working though? Okay. Okay. Validating favorite failed. Validating favorite failed. I wonder if this is a problem in general if I go to this collection now. Okay. Okay, let's make this simple and then we're going to come back. So if there is no current user, it should be disabled. Else, if there's no collection, no. Otherwise, if there's no current user, it should be disabled. There is a current user, and the current user's ID does not equal the collection ID. Okay, now so if there's no collection, then it should return this. Else, if the current user ID does not equal the return true. Else if current user ID does not equal collection.user ID, return true. And just for good measure, we're going to have this end higher, but we should never hit this. There's no current user, this should be disabled. If there is no collection, then we're not on the collection page and we should just do what we were doing before. Else, if the current user does not equal the collection ID, then it should be disabled. Otherwise, oh, this is janky. I don't like this. Okay. No collection. And you're not validating. So we broke favorites for okay, so this okay. Let's circle back to that. So this is working the way we expect in terms of it being disabled or not. Well, it's not disabled. If we go to our collection page, also not disabled, and then copy this URL if I log out. We still have a current user? That would be a big bug. Oh, okay. We're clearing the object, but okay. Okay, so cool. That's working. Okay, we'll log in again. And go back here. Okay, and now let's fix favorites. So favorites, when I click this, I'm getting a validating favorite failed. And I imagine I know why. Oh, that's convenient. Yep. We're not validating this. So also have link.collection ID. So right now, what this does is it makes sure that when somebody's adding a favorite, they're adding a favorite to something that they own or have access to. So there's it prevents somebody from somehow favoriting a link that doesn't belong to them. That's something that should never happen. It should be impossible. But and then I validate that that doesn't actually happen. Nobody should ever in a million years be able to even see somebody else's link. But it's defensive programming. So if link collection ID unless collection where find by ID link.collection ID .user ID equals current user.id. And then I think we're gonna have to do the same thing for delete. Return unless user link favorite. Oh no, we're fine with that one. Cool. Okay. So now we restart Rails. And I can create a favorite and remove a favorite. That is working. And if I copy this and then log out, okay, so logging out, that's not what should happen. Log in. so this works. This is re-rendering too many times. I need to look into that. If I log out, why do you still have current user? That should not be possible. Okay, so nav bar, drop down, log out. When we log out the user, we do a bunch of clearing and cache clearing and stuff. This right here actually logs out the users. So like logout is working, but the refetch queries, so we refetch get active user. There could be a race condition, I guess, here. Like maybe this is still fetching. Function, active user. Okay. So let's do this should also be okay, so this should be clearing the that's a big bug if this is so logout is totally working, but something wonky is happening in this use case. I'm completely confident, and let's see what's going on here first. We go to Apollo, cache, have this user. I log out, the user is cleared. Okay, so let's go back up the chain of stuff here. Search row is rendered by link search list. This memo, I bet, is the problem. Okay, so doing some research, this is not the right way. I should be doing memoization because these are objects and objects can change. Like the JavaScript object ID will be different between two objects, even if they are identical in all fields. So what we're gonna do instead is set these as variables. Active, delete active user, and then collection. It's current user. And it's this. And then here, we're gonna reevaluate if the current user ID changes and if the collection ID changes. And that'll just make sure we're memorized properly. We're gonna ignore this because what I have written is correct. I had a former coworker who was really against using this line, but in my experience, it makes sense to disable this line a bunch when you have situations like this. And I don't want to re-architect everything just so that TypeScript is, like this arbitrary TypeScript rule is happy. I don't know enough about this debate to really be strongly on one side or the other, but according to the internet, at least like a year ago, this was like a hot topic that people had different. There wasn't like a correct way. There isn't a correct way to do this. There's just different opinions. This will fix memoization, but this isn't actually what the problem is. I don't think. Because if I still go down here and I log current user, and let's get rid of the other one because there's too many. It was making a lot of noise. And log in again. We have our user. This is working as expected. We go to our collection. We refresh. We have the current user everywhere. And then I log out. The user is cleared from the Apollo cache, but here we still have it. This could be an async thing happening. All right, I'm gonna do some more research here. Okay, that took longer than expected, but I did fix the problem. In short, I moved to a more nuclear way of clearing the cache, the Apollo cache, when users log out, and that did the trick. So now I'm gonna go ahead and log in again. And if we go to a collection, we have the collection. Now, when I log out, the cache gets nuked, and now these are disabled. There's no active user. You can also see that the sidebar stopped rendering. That's because right now the sidebar only renders if the user is logged in. That is something we need to fix. But the user is being removed from the cache. We still have all of our links because they were just reloaded, but in the collection. But the root query, active user is null. All we have are collection links, and this is what we expect. So this is good. So with that, we have successfully fixed this. One more thing I'm going to do is add a tooltip. So these are favorites. So tooltip. A lot of dead code. So yeah, MUI tooltip. And then tooltip, and then slash tooltip. Test. I think I remember something about this not working if it's disabled. Yeah. So we need to do span. And now the tooltip. Okay. So, and then we have a text or a function, determine tooltip text. If it's disabled, return test. Else, return toggle favorites. If I'm logged in, it'll toggle favorite. Otherwise, it'll say, please log in to use this feature. Please log in and create your own collection. This is not your collection. This is not your collection. Please create your own collection to use this feature. And then the text is going to be this. And now, please create your own collection to use this feature. Cool. And then if I do indeed log in and go to the collection page, toggle favorite. Cool. I think we can add a little bit of a delay. Enter delay. Yeah, we'll keep 500. How's that feel? What? Okay, I'm expecting that to be half a second. And you're also, why are you? Huh. Only doing it from the first time. Okay. Oh, we're gonna leave it, I guess. We've standardized in 500 everywhere. Like it's doing it the first time. Oh, are you still complaining? No. Maybe. Okay, so log out. Everything refreshes. That's okay. Cool. So now we have a tooltip, and that's great. So the next thing we want to do is disable this, I think. Do I want to disable edit and delete link? Yeah, maybe I disable edit and delete link, but keep copy URL. We're gonna have to deal with that too. What are you? What network are we hitting? Are you re-rendering the collection a bunch of times? Well, that's not correct either, especially for the collection query. Okay, that's also going in our backlog. Okay, we need to fix this. This is gonna get really old really quick. Yeah, that's of course not gonna fly. That checks out, I guess. We're fetching categories and tags. It's constantly re-rendering. Okay, we'll get there. So we have this thing working now, and so so the icon on the left, the favorite icon, is now behaving the way we expect. I'm going to go ahead and commit that. The next thing we're going to do is handle this sidebar, or the link dropdown. We're going to disable edit and delete link if the user is not logged in. We'll use the same logic we did over here. And then we're going to figure out what's going on with all of this. That's the plan. I'm going to go ahead and commit. So we added user ID, and then the nav bar drop down. These are the changes we made to logging out users, and then the list user collection. We just deleted dead code. And then in toggle favorite, we added, we just moved this, added current user in collection. And we're checking to make sure user link favorites exists. That all checks out. Search row mobile, search row desktop are the same thing. This just got moved to multiple lines. Current user and collection. This is now notify on network status change. Do this for defensive programming. I don't think this should be necessary, but I'm gonna make a note to circle back to this, actually. Okay, I'm gonna circle back to this. I want to look at this with fresh eyes later. Paula Wrapper, that's us also handling a new or logged out users, explicitly setting it to nothing. Fixed the type of these user ID in Ruby there, and added an error of validation for toggling favorites. Cool. Front end, public collection page, handles toggle favorites appropriately. This took a lot longer than expected, so I'm going to end the video there. And in the next video, we are going to handle the drop down for each link, disabling edit and delete link. And then from there, we will continue to deal with this wall of 429s and 401s. But that's a future problem for a future video. So thanks for watching. David out.